Welcome to Startup Takeoff, your way to entrepreneurship in Germany, a podcast for students with an international or intercultural background who want to create a startup in this country. My name is Camila Muñoz, and in this episode, we want to dive deeper into the process of starting a business in Germany. In the beginning, it can be overwhelming if you don't know where to start when you have a business idea, like the bureaucratic processes, the legal requirements, finding financial support, and many more. That's why our guest today will guide us through the process.
My name is Ellen Bommersheim and I'm the Managing Director of Compass Frankfurt.
Ellen will explain us the most important steps to consider when starting a business, how to know if your idea is good enough, the best way to get funding, and some tips about the German business culture. But first, let's hear what is Compass Frankfurt and what they do.
Compass is a space for communities, expats, newcomers, founders, and startups alike. For the last 25 years, Compass is a municipal institution, and we have been dedicated to support the international startup community. Compass is offering guidance, and we support startups, entrepreneurs, and companies interested in sustainable business models with a wide range of tools. And we are working regional-wide, nationwide, and international. And what is very interesting, that Compass, we are accredited for public funds and loan, and we even started our own fund, the Frankfurter Gründerfonds.
And let's say that someone has entrepreneurial spirit, but he or she doesn't have a concrete idea yet. What would be the best way to find potentially good business ideas?
The best way is to look at everyday problems that need to be solved. So there are so many gaps still in the world, and there are so many problems that has to be solved. Entrepreneurs can explore emerging trends, leverage their personal or professional experience, or just identify gaps in existing industry. And we have a lot of tools here in Compass, tools like market research, networking with other entrepreneurs helps, and using, of course, AI-based ideation method can also help to generate and validate ideas. And we're also providing a lot of workshops here in Compass. There are so many hackathons, boot camps, startup weekend, incubator programs, and these are also great places for finding the right idea and to be inspired.
And for people who already have an idea, how can they tell if it has potential?
Yeah, that is the good question. A solid business idea should solve really a real problem and have a viable market. Entrepreneurs can access potential by conducting market research and validating their ideas with potential customers or with potential cooperation partners. We are using tools with the Canvas tools, the value proposition, or the Lean Startup methodology are also very common. And entrepreneurs also should elevate scalability, competition. There are so many competitors. And of course, the financial feasibility before doing and committing further.
And let's say that the idea is now clear, and what are the first steps to take afterwards?
The first steps include conducting through the market research, is defining the right business model and creating a minimum viable product. And entrepreneurs also should seek for an early feedback. And this is actually the advantage of Compass. We are a public entity and we are neutral. We are not allowed to make any kind of money or profit from our founders. And that's why we can give in a very early stage a very good feedback and giving the chance that they refine their concept, work on branding and positioning. And of course, you have to find the right legal structure, and you have to see and moving forward with all the registration process.
Can you tell us what is a business plan and how to write one?
A business plan is a document that outlines a company's goal, strategies, financial projections, and operational plans. For me, it's a must. And it typically includes section on the problem being solved, the target market, the competitive analysis, the revenue model, marketing strategy, and of course, funding needs. And a well-structured business plan not only guides the founders, but it also helps to secure fundings from investors or banks. In Compass, we're providing several tools to write a business plan. We have calculation tools for different sectors, for the service sectors, for the handcraft sectors, for the gastronomy sectors. So we really provide a lot of tools to write and to calculate your own business plan, and also in so many languages.
Once the business plan is done, what are the next steps or formalities that people should take into account?
Yeah, so the next steps include legally registration the business, especially you are a limited a GmbH in Germany or a UG or an Einzelunternehmen, that means you are alone. Obtaining necessary permits, sometimes you need some specific permissions. Setting up a business bank account. It's not allowed to use your private, or it's allowed, but it's complicated because one of the first contact you will have is with the Financial Administration Office, with the so-called Finanzamt. You have to register for the taxes. You have to ensuring compliance with the social security regulations, and depend on the sector or the industry. You have additional licenses or insurances may be required. There are so many challenges in that stage of starting a company. I really said you have to have some kind who really help you in all these issues to avoid frictions, to avoid payments additional, to avoid further taxes. Yeah, because you have to really save your nerves.
And these are aspects that anyone starting a business should be aware of. And what about migrants living in Germany? What are the main legal or bureaucratic hurdles for them?
Migrants, entrepreneurs are often face additional hurdles, such as visa or residence permit restriction, language barriers in dealing with bureaucracy. Sometimes even for me as a native German speaker, it's hard to understand a letter from some official office in Germany. It's hard to understand. And sometimes migrant entrepreneurs are facing with difficulties accessing finance. And because you have to have a track record to have access to finance, but if you're a newcomer in Germany, so it's difficult to show what you already have reached in maybe your country of origin. And sometimes you need a specific visa and or permit proving that business benefits to the local economy. So there are many things to solve, but therefore Compass is famous because we are a public entity, so we really can help with the foreign office to register your company, to get all the license to start successfully in Frankfurt.
And I have seen that you work in many languages. You offer like counseling in different languages. Can you tell us a bit about that? How diverse is your team?
So we are very diverse. Actually, I'm the exception that I'm the only one who was born here in Hesse and grew up in Hesse. We have colleagues from all over the world, so we can provide in Spanish, in German, in French, in Turkish, in Greek, in Italian, in Dari, in Farsi, in Arab, in Ukraine, many, many, many languages. And we also have different glossars and different tools in so many languages so that you really can write your business plan in the language you prefer to speak, because it's sometimes much easier to express what is the specific, unique issue in your business plan.
And apart from these formalities and bureaucracy we already mentioned, what will you say is the most important thing to consider when starting a business here, especially for people with an international or intercultural background?
So building a strong network, that is crucial. And Compass, we had trained more than 28,000 founders. So we have a very, very broad network. And so we really invite everybody to be part of the Compass network. And entrepreneurs should engage with local business communities. So we have so many foreign business communities here in Frankfurt or in the Rhine-Main region. We have different startup incubators, and we have a lot of industry events here in the Rhine-Main area. And understanding German business etiquette is also very important, and customers' expectations sometimes are different in Germany, and this is very essential for the success.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that, about the German corporate culture. What are some aspects that entrepreneurs should be aware of, especially when coming from another country?
Maybe I'm the exception, but Germany value its punctuality, it's also planning, and it's about reliability. So this is very important. And so decisions making can be very structured and formal, and trust building takes time. And this is very important. You have to be aware about that. Trust is the key for almost everything in Germany. And entrepreneurs also should be prepared for very detailed documentation and compliance requirements in Germany. We love documentations, the Germans.
And what do you think should be considered when looking for co-founders or business partners?
A strong team should always have complementary skills, aligned values, and a shared vision. And for me, it's very important that you really have a shared vision and very clear communication and legal agreements on roles, responsibilities, and equity dispositions are essential to avoid conflicts. And sometimes founders are here, they are the best friends. They studied maybe together. They developed the idea of running and starting a business together, but everyone has to come by their own to our consultancy in a specific stage, and then they have to share with the consultant here their sorrows. And then we see, can we solve these sorrows and the prejudges together? And sometimes it happened that they are not starting and running a company together. Actually, it's more than 30%, it's the case. It's like a marriage. You have to be 100% assured that she or he is the right person.
And following the topic of the team and the connections, what strategies do you recommend to overcome potential cultural barriers when building international and diverse teams?
Always encouraging open communications. It's a must. Setting clear expectations and also fostering an inclusive work environment are key. And companies also should consider cultural training and team building activities to strengthen collaboration. We also developed some kind of a Canvas tool. It's a collaboration Canvas tool, and we are providing many workshops how to create the right team, how to find the right team, and how to behave in a matter that you really can work on the success of your business together. Because the motto is still Gemeinsam deins, that means stronger together.
And now talking about the funding, what do you think is the best way to get this initial funding when you are starting the business?
It always depends on the business model, and sometimes entrepreneurs can explore bootstrapping. We have a lot of grants here in Germany. We have business competitions. We have also the opportunity looking for crowdfunding. And of course, we have a lot of public funding programs here in Germany, like Exist for students, local investment funds like the Frankfurter Gründerfonds. And of course, you can look for early stage venture capital, but it's not so easy.
And do you also connect like entrepreneurs with potentially founders?
It's also part of the network to find access to finance. And specifically, we are always looking, is there a possibility to have finance via a public loan? Especially the state of Hesse are running some very, very good loans for founders.
And these programs are very good for the beginning, but what about later on? What is the first way to attract like potentially investors or business angels?
Founders should focus on demonstrating traction. That's it. And you have to build a strong pitch and networking with investors. And you can do it via startup events, accelerator programs, or of course, there are also some business angel networks here in Germany, or there are a lot of public loans for existing companies or for later on.
Are there specific funding opportunities available to migrant entrepreneurs here in Germany?
Yes, many of the programs I'd mentioned are also accessible for migrant entrepreneurs. And there's also the Migrant Accelerator program, and it's German-wide. And we have also the Exist Women program or the Exist program. So they're also focusing on international founders. And there are also some programs we are running together with the Ministry of Economic Affairs. And it's for founders who like to start a company in their country of origin.
And you have a lot of experience here with companies from other countries. In your experience, how do investors in Germany perceive migrant-founded businesses?
It's hard. And that's why we're always looking for some public fundings, in the first step. Because if an investor sees, there is public fundings already there, then it's easier to find also some kind of a business angel who believes in the idea.
What is your experience here at Compass Frankfurt with entrepreneurs who want to expand their business internationally?
So we see many startups looking to expand, and we provide access to international networks, market entries, strategies, and funding services. And for example, in Germany, we are working here with a lot of consulates, with business communities. For example, we have a very vibrant network of different business communities. So the Indian-German business community, the Argentinian, the Peruvian. There are so many international consulates here in Frankfurt, in the Rhine-Main region. And so it's easy to have success when you are coming from abroad. So that should be always one point of contact, or the business access running or providing via the consulates.
And how can people reach to you when they have interest in working together with you? Can they just come and make an appointment, or how does it work? Is there a selection process?
Because we are a public entity of the city of Frankfurt, so first of all, we are trying to support startups like to start a company in Frankfurt. That's natural. And so there's actually not a selection process, so you can register easily via our website. And then we see, are we the right institution to help you? Or if not, we find maybe another institution. For example, if you're coming from Bavaria, or if you're coming from another city here in Hesse, for example, in Gießen, Marburg, because there are many compasses run by the cities and communities in Germany. We are not the only one.
And finally, is there any message or advice that you would like to share with people who are considering starting a business in Germany? Maybe especially people that are coming from other countries.
Germany offers great opportunities for entrepreneurs. But of course, success requires resilience, preparation, and networking. So stay curious, seek for support from available resources, and take always the opportunity to connect, to share experience, and to develop new ideas for a really inclusive entrepreneurship. And really take every idea you have seriously, because we need you. We need new startups. We need new ideas to really run the world and makes the world a little bit better. So with Compass, you never get lost.
This was our episode with Ellen Bommersheim from Compass Frankfurt. You can find more about them on their website, compassfrankfurt.de, and join their Instagram community at Gemeinsam Deins. In the following episodes, you will find more inspiring stories and tips from experts to make your entrepreneurial journey in Germany easier. Startup Takeoff, Your Way to Entrepreneurship in Germany, is a podcast of the International Career Service Rhein-Main, a project that supports international students and students with a history of migration to start their career or business in Germany. The project is funded by the European Union and the state of Hesse. To know more about our offer, please visit our website at ics-rm.de. You can also connect with us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. You find us as @ICS_RM. Thanks for listening, and until next month.